Shall we begin? Let's get started.
Hey, Mom, can I have $20?
I gave you $20 yesterday. Futures Academy in Victoria is a different kind of school. We use the individually designed educational achievement plan to build a program for your child based on their needs, strengths, and struggles. If your child has had trouble in public school, perhaps developed anxiety or fallen behind in grade levels and achievement, give us a call. Our number is 361-433-0322. You can also check us out on the web at futuresacademyvic.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Hello.
Hello. I waited to let you say it first.
What are you doing?
I just got out of the shower. That's why when you asked me if I was ready, I said no. And I was the one bugging you to start early. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm not like I've got a house full of sick people or anything.
I know. What is going on with your family, man?
My toddler started preschool.
Yeah, that's probably enough words. My friend Brandy is working at, I can't remember the name of it, but somewhere in the Dallas area. She's working at a place that specializes in like autism therapy, occupational therapy and stuff for kids with autism. And she's a drug rehab counselor. So I'm not exactly sure what her role is there. She's actually working with the kids though. And she said she just got COVID after being sick with something else for, she had that 10-day thing everybody's got that just, man, it wipes you out. It's not COVID. It's not the flu. People wind up with strep after it. It's awful. But anyway, she had that. Now she's got COVID. And she told him, she's like, I just started this job. I feel so bad. I'm sick. And they're like, we get it. You've never worked with kids. Now you are. We know you're about to miss a lot of work. We get it. So it's not, some people are very understanding about that.
Yeah, I know. And River's preschool director told me, she was like, kid germs are a different kind. Like, they don't have these in the wild.
They're all right here within these four walls, only transmissible to children and dads.
Yeah.
Moms have already had it.
Well, and really, River's been so obsessed with Cade lately that I'm like, I'm not even going to get it this time.
Right? I don't need, you know what? You just go to your dad. That works right now.
Why don't y'all quarantine together?
Right. I'll be in another room. In fact, I'll be in another county.
I'm gonna go meet my neighbors.
Right.
See what they're up to. Leave the house. Okay. What else are you up to?
Well, I don't know, man. When I was in the shower, I was thinking what we were going to talk about today because we don't really have a topic planned, which is not something we do very often. I think some of those are our best episodes, though, when we're just like, what is on your brain today and seeing where that goes. But I don't know. I had a lot of things like I was thinking about stress and its impacts and everything that we're doing with Brace for Impact and how quickly that's coming together. But man, you and I was it you and me that were sending the memes about Pooh saying, what day is it, Piglet? And Piglet saying, it's still effing January or whatever.
Yeah.
That we're very much feeling the pressure of the new year. And it's not even January now. And I still feel like it's January 83rd.
I know. And it's almost March.
Shut up. That can't be right.
Our event is 2 weeks from yesterday as we're recording this. We're recording this on Sunday, February 16th. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that seems so close. And I feel like we've been planning it for 100 years.
Me too. And I also feel like the next 2 weeks are going to absolutely kill me.
Right? I know. If you get sick, I'm going to have a word with you.
Let's, I'm going to go drink some orange juice after this. But
Right.
I did forget to introduce ourselves. I am Cheyenne, and this is my mom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And if you've never listened before, welcome. If you have, welcome back.
We are clearly professional podcasters. Don't believe any of the lies you've heard about us being new to this whole thing.
I know. What else is on your mind today? So you were talking about stress and its impacts, and where did that lead you?
Well, I was telling you that I had just learned something about misperception of time and where it comes from, because this is something I've done for a long time. And I know that in emotional conversations or in heated moments or high stress or whatever, I don't necessarily remember the order of events or order of conversation. And I was thinking that's an ADHD thing, right? Because I know, first of all, females present differently than males with ADHD, but time management is a thing that a lot of people with ADHD have. Well, in recent years, I've started to wonder if I have it, and I don't know if it's because um my coping mechanisms have stopped working or whatever, but anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. So I went to chat gpt because I do not have ADHD, clearly. So I went to chat gpt and said, is it a common symptom for women with ADHD to have perception of time issues? Like, I don't know if something happened 2 weeks ago or 2 months. And what made me think that was we were sitting here watching music videos and a song came on, and I thought, that's one of the happiest memories of my life. That was so good. It was when your dad and I went to Eureka Springs, and I know you've heard this story. We went to a little hole in the wall bar called the Woodshed. I got trashed. Dad wasn't drinking, but at like 30, we were the youngest people in the bar by probably 20 years. And
Oh
this
yeah.
amazing band of middle-aged dudes called the Homewreckers were doing everything from like 60s to 80s pop and rock, and it was so much fun. The energy was exactly what you would be looking for. It was wonderful. And for somebody like me that's not my element, that really says a lot.
No, but it sounds like that was like such a good night for you and Dad. Like y'all had a
Oh, it
blast. It was a good
was.
memory, you know.
Dude, the best dancer in the place was like 74 years old. His wife was probably 60. And I mean, he was getting down and like everybody's dancing with everybody. And I know this is normal when you're 20, but these guys were 50, 60, 70 years old. It was a lot of fun. But
I just want to say that I'm going to be 29 this year and my husband will be 31, so we're about the same age, and our type of night at the bar is very much different than that.
well, we didn't really do bars, and if we did, we'd go have a couple of beers and play some pool and come home. But this was a night. We were on vacation. I mean, we were in Eureka Springs. We had taken this trip for fun. It was in April, but I cannot for the life of me tell you when it was. I don't know. I know at least a couple of you kids had already been born. I assume we had Dakota, but I couldn't tell you if he was a baby, 5. I have
Yeah,
no idea. And now, you're old enough that you mark time by those events. Let's see, River was born yet. I wasn't married yet. That was back when I
well,
was living at such and such.
I'm thinking, I think we lived in White Oak.
Yeah. Because that's the context in which we remember events. So what
But doesn't
happens when the
everyone do that?
context is out?
But doesn't everyone do that?
Yeah, I think everyone does. But does everyone have a problem when the context is sort of set aside by itself? Like there's nothing else to mark that time by for that vacation.
Okay.
Like we took another vacation and I think it was Dakota was a baby because it was the trip to Mesquite where we went. That was for our anniversary. So yeah, Dakota was a baby because when we came back, that was the day that I called your name and you didn't answer, and we realized yes, you really had a hearing problem.
hmm
So like even that event that was completely separate, it was the first time we'd been away from the kids and stuff. It still has bigger context that puts it in time.
Yeah.
Does that
Well,
make
I'm the
sense?
same way. Yeah, yeah, because you're right. Before Dad died and after Dad died. Before I was
Yeah.
with Kate and after. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you've talked about friends who knew your dad and didn't know your dad, and friends who knew me when I smoked cigarettes versus friends that have never known me as a smoker.
Shout out, Devin.
Yeah. It was like
Remember
2 days
Devin turned in
left.
18 and you were like, yes. And I don't have to go to the store anymore.
That's right. Or any of your friends 18 that can buy me cigarettes. I was not contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I did wait. I never tried to get y'all to do it when you were too young.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, as soon as Devin turned 18 2 years before me, you said, come here.
You work for me now, kid.
If you're going to drive my kid around, you have some duties.
It's funny how roles change because I was talking to someone yesterday, booking someone for Brace for Impact, and I told her, "Okay, here's when we want you. This we've confirmed your topic. Here's your time. Either I will send you an email, or my daughter will, and here's her contact information." This is really her thing, and I think I work for her now. And I thought this is quite a role reversal.
No, and I've already been thinking about like new projects. I'm like, man, I need to find a new mentor because my mom is not going to go for this one.
Isn't that the point of these things? You're branching out to get new people because let me tell you, I'm tired.
And we're already off topic.
I know. What was the time? ADHD. Yeah. No, but the time perception thing. So I was talking to ChatGPT and I found out that yeah, that actually is common with ADHD along with these other time related things. For example, you get hyper focused on something, which I do. I don't call it that. I get in the groove, I get in the zone, I'm in work mode, those kind of things where I'm like, and I guess that is hyper focus, but I don't lose time during that hyper focus. Whereas you get sucked into a video game or work or a book or whatever it is that you do, and you look up and go, oh my gosh, it's been 2 hours. And you don't, I thought I was going to sit here for 20 minutes. And I don't do that. I don't lose that time. I also, something else that's very common with ADHD, particularly in women, girls, is not being able to estimate time. Thinking, for example, I've got plenty of time to finish getting ready to leave the house, and oh my gosh, I'm all of a sudden I'm late. What happened? Because you don't really know what happens, what you can accomplish in half an hour or whatever. And by the same token, oh my gosh, I'm going to get ready 4 hours early so that I'm not late. And then 3 hours and 45 minutes, you're sitting there. And I don't have any of that. Those are very common things, but I don't have those. And so my follow up question was, okay, what else can cause it? And that list I have in spades. So,
Also do that. I do that. The hyperfixation thing. It's why when I drop River off at school at 9 o'clock and I pick her up at 2:15, I'm like, oh my gosh, the time went by so fast. I'm already ready to put her in full time because I'm like, where is those hours going? Like,
right, I had
and
such great plans for all the things I wanted to accomplish today, and it's already time.
well, and it's like I'll sit at my desk, do some things, send some emails, do some work stuff with you, podcast stuff, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, I also need to clean the kitchen before I pick her up. And I look at the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 1:45. I don't even have time to start cleaning the kitchen.
Right. And I need a shower because it was a messy day and everything else. And it's like, and I get that sometimes tasks take longer than you thought they were going to.
But
So
that's part of
for
it,
that's part of
the
it.
measuring time.
And also to be able to go, okay, I've worked on this long enough, I'm going to have to finish it later. Or in my case, it doesn't have to be perfect, call it good and let's go. I mean, I spent like half an hour trying to decide whether to put a border on a document the other day in Canva. Come on. That in itself
Yeah,
was a problem.
yeah.
But I might have
Uh,
also been avoiding things. But some of the
I
other
think,
go ahead before I continue Chat GPT.
I think you and I probably, I'm not going to diagnose this, but we probably should get diagnosed because, we have found workarounds and it's really just out of experience, I guess, because now when I have issues with those things, I set a timer for an hour. Okay, I'm going to work on this for an hour. And when that timer goes off, I'm not working on it until I sit down to work again tomorrow.
Mm. Why do you do that? What is the value of making yourself take that break or stop?
Because
Is
I
it
know I'll
so that
spend
you don't get
30
lost
minutes.
in that task?
It's because I know I'll spend 30 minutes looking at a border for a Canva ad when I only have an hour. So I need to do more in this hour. And I'm looking at the timer counting down. So I go, okay, hang on. Let me get back on track. If I can't figure this out now, come back to it.
Okay, so you
Um,
really do it as a deadline.
Kind of. And that just made me think that it reminds me of taking a test in high school and how they would say, if you don't know the answer, come back to it at the end. And that's probably where that came from.
Right. See, I almost think of it differently. For me, it's more like, okay, I have to work this long. I got to stay focused this long. But if I get to that hour and I'm in the groove, man, throw that clock away. I got stuff to do. I am really, really not managed well by outside sources, but I'm not managed well by inside sources either.
Yeah. And, That's why you have like no work-life balance.
We're not talking. Wait, we are talking about me. That was
That
one of
is
those
a
topics
topic
that
for
I
another day.
that was one of those topics I said we need to get an expert on because clearly you and I know nothing about this. Your child rules your life, my job rules mine, and we both know it and seem powerless to do anything.
Okay, well, if you're an expert, let us know.
If you know anything about time management or pretty much anything we've talked about and want to be on our podcast, we would love to hear you. Do you know something about
Yeah.
time?
I'm an excellent time.
My boyfriend just walked in and he's like, I'm an expert on all these things. Yet, I just told you I'm not well managed. So I don't know if that's true.
I'm used to talking that way.
Put into your chat GPT.
I'll be down with this at this time.
Oh, that's true. He is good at that because he'll be like, okay, this is all going to take me an hour and a half. I'll see you in 2 hours when he's headed home from work. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Chat
not like that
GPT.
either.
So I said, okay, I'm not sure that's me because they also have difficulty with transitions. Sheridan even asked me about this the other day. Transitioning from one task to another when you go, okay, I have to stop working and I need to go get supper ready. I don't have a problem with that. When I'm ready to shut down, I shut it down and my brain changes focus. That's an ADH thing that I don't have. Um, Underestimating and overestimating time, and then memory distortions is part of that as well. So, of those four main things that are especially key to women, I only had one. So when I asked what else can cause this, now the list is speaking my language. First of all, stress and anxiety. But stress and anxiety, and then dissociation and daydreaming. For me, those two went together because you get the feeling in those moments that everything is happening at once.
Hmm.
I don't
Okay.
know that I feel that in the moment.
That it's all happening at once.
Right. But like, say you and I are having an argument and you say something and I'm connecting that to other things I know or other events that have happened or other parts of this conversation. Meanwhile, the conversation continues, but I've missed part of it because I was somewhere else. Even if it's
Mm.
only a couple of seconds, because my brain's going 1,000 miles an hour to process all this and process the emotions and no, that's not what happened, or here's where you misunderstood, or here's where I misunderstood, or I don't know, whatever conversations take place in your head in those moments, but you lose part of it. And how do people not do that? Are you not processing while I'm speaking? Is your brain not going somewhere else?
No, they're not. Because I'm sitting here thinking that's why my husband just says okay after I yell at him for 30 seconds straight. That's why he goes,
Is it because he's
okay, babe.
processing or not processing?
I think he's taking a second to process. And so,
See,
but then, like, I'm not just going to go, well, I'm mad about this, process, start yelling again. Like,
it's like you have to hit the enter button after every statement. Pause and wait for the message to go through.
yeah.
Dissociation and daydreaming. So that one I was like, I don't really do that. And of course, my dumbass had to go back later and go, hold on, do I do that? Because it first described it as people dissociate frequently or mildly or significantly. I'm like, okay, I may do that. So I did ask that follow up question. What is mild disassociation? And I'm just going to read it to you because this was me so much. Mild disassociation is a temporary or subtle detachment from reality, often experienced as feeling spaced out, zoned out, or disconnected from your surroundings, thoughts, or emotions. It's a normal experience that many people go through occasionally, especially under stress or when you feel tired. I know I feel that at the end of the day when I come home and I've told Bubba I need an hour to finish my working when I get home. He and I have different environments. He works in the quiet all day. I work in noise and touching all day. And so when we come home, we need the opposite from each other. And so we've worked out a deal where I've got an hour where I need to finish my touching and talking. Then I can give you some attention. But after that, bleh, I just feel like a wet dish rag. I've done all the connecting and stuff that I can do, and I have to detach. Is that normal?
Probably for your job, yeah.
Do other people not feel that drain when they're stressed or that disconnect? I mean,
I think
because
all teachers feel that because I remember you being like that when you taught public school.
really,
Yeah, think about time.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, I've been touched and talked to all day long. Please stop. And
please
I remember
stop.
being
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I'm aware of that in students now. I actually put my arm around a kid. His mom was a speaker in class. We'd invited her in to speak to the business class. And so afterwards, I was talking to her and I kind of put my arm around him. He's a junior. And I said something, like, hey, he's new. We're doing great. He's doing good. And he shrunk out from under my arm after a second. And I realized, oh my gosh, I just touched somebody without asking because I don't do that.
Yeah.
It's people come and ask me for hugs and things all day and I feel like I've been pecked by chickens sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I was born for this. There's nothing else on earth I'd rather be doing, but it is exhausting.
Yeah. Well, and like you can't be mad about them people loving you. You
Of course.
know?
I know, look at me.
Well, and I'm thinking about students who are just like, oh, Miss Knowles, give me a hug. And I get it. Like,
Yeah, they literally do walk in all looking sulky and go, Miss Smalls, can I have a hug? Of course you can, baby. Lean the other way because I know you had strep last week.
like I said, these germs do not live in the wild.
Oh gosh. So the symptoms of mild dissociation are zoning out or losing track of time. For example, realizing you've been staring at a wall for 10 minutes without realizing it. I've done that in my worst grief moments where I may have been sitting here an hour. And I consider that outside my norm because grief is an animal all its own.
Mhm.
Losing track of conversations, going on autopilot. Oh my gosh, I function so much on autopilot and I wish I didn't. And there's times when I really try to focus and be present. And sometimes I find that I can't. The focus is really a thing, but I really don't think I have ADHD. Difficulty recalling recent events. I have all the symptoms, but is denial on the list? Hold on, let me scroll up. I really think I'm just busy and try not to be busy, and it comes out as ADHD.
That's crazy because I've been saying that about River. I've been saying, no, mom, she's just busy. And you're like, that kid's got ADHD for
Dude, she
sure.
sleeps an hour and a half a day. That is not neurotypical.
Okay, well, when you said that day, I did ask ChatGPT, what are ADHD symptoms in a 2.5-year-old toddler? And the one that is most present at 2.5 is little sleep.
Yeah, that's the one that I mean, giving up one nap, yes, but literally that child fights sleep all day. I know that you don't get a nap in there every day. And I know her dad has it, so
Yeah.
it is hereditary. And let me tell you, the minute she's old enough, I'm also going to screen her for Erlin because her dad has it, and it runs in the family. Her aunt has it too, so those are things that you do need to look at.
Yeah, which is why I told you that I want to start letters and numbers soon.
Right.
Let's get a jump on it because I know it may be hard for her, you know?
Right. Yeah. The same way that I did for you when we knew hearing may be a problem. Let's just
Yeah.
see, but that's another coping mechanism. That's a thing that we've built in from the very beginning. And in my generation, as a child, you simply learned to sit and be quiet or, I don't know. It just was easier, I guess. And then
The
today,
expectation was much more serious, I guess. Like there
that's
wasn't a lot
true.
of exceptions.
That's true. And my mom, God love her, but even at birthday parties was like, "Yo, oh my gosh, I lost a fingernail somewhere." See, it's not all ADHD. Crazy stuff does happen.
And I'm going, I don't have ADHD.
But
The,
even
the
at
way you said
birthday
it so
parties,
fast,
what?
I lost a nail at a birthday party. That's how fast you said that.
Squirrel! Oh my goodness, how far back does this go? Because I remember Dad calling me a flake when y'all were young.
Me too. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, what an asshole. Because mom's not that flaky.
You don't spend much time. I just cackled. That was embarrassing. Um, I don't even know what I was going to say.
Okay, grandmother and birthday parties.
Even then, she was like, "Y'all need to calm down."
Oh
You're
yeah, what
talking about
before?
expectations and few exceptions. Like, even when it's time to be rowdy, we can only be so rowdy.
Yeah, Dakota and Sheridan and I used to say that like grandmother's house was like a no fun zone. Like
My dad used to do that too. If y'all were playing in the floor and get loud or whatever, he'd be like, "Y'all quit having fun. You're gonna make grandmother mad."
when Brooklyn and I worked at Schmiller's. MG, she would walk by and see us all joking and playing around and tell us, "Hey, y'all get to work, stop it." And so it became a thing that when MG was coming to Brooklyn, I would say, "No joy, no laughter, no fun," and we'd walk away dispersed.
Everybody get back to act. Oh, there's my nail. This was gone way off the rails. Okay, for real.
You know what we're talking about.
Okay, so coping mechanisms. Because it did give me some suggestions at the end for like managing all of this. It did say dissociation is a concern when when it affects your life or if it's caused by something deeper like chronic stress or trauma or neurodivergence. If you legit have any sort of activity or focus disorder or autism or the outdated term Asperger's, also any of these things, if you have any of those things that are a real physical or neuro condition, those obviously need to be dealt with differently. I'm really talking about day-to-day stuff for people like me that haven't and don't believe it. Um, but it said that these things happen because of some really cool reasons, like how your brain checks out. I didn't realize or I didn't think about this. You can also have executive dysfunction without having any other underlying condition. Like this isn't my strength and I'm not good at this. And
Well,
so it
explain what
said,
that is.
so what it says here is your brain might struggle with sequencing, putting things in order or your working memory, like is holding on to short-term information. And I'll give you an example of that. It's not just holding on to that phone number until you can enter it into your phone. It's also like if you are looking at a price tag and you know it's 20% off, and so you're going to multiply the two times that number, and you know what that is. So say it's $20. It's 20% off. You're going to multiply 20% times $20. That's $4. Now, wait, what was I subtracting $4 from? That is the inability to hold information in your head as well. And it causes a lot of math struggles with people. But if you can't hold on to the number that long, it probably shows up elsewhere. And so putting things in order, like knowing that I really need to clean the kitchen before I can start supper, in my case, not everybody does it that way. But I need to start with a clean kitchen, but knowing where to start in the kitchen because you got to unload the dishwasher and you can't unload the dishwasher until you clear the counter off and you can't unload the sink until you've unloaded. And it's just, oh, paralysis. Never mind. I'm going back to finish my show.
Okay, I get that bad.
You get what?
I get that bad.
I think
Like
every
that happens to me all day, every day.
well, and I think part of that's your environment too, because you've got the same issue I do where I can't get anything done because other things keep interrupting me to get stuff done. Like for example, I was trying to walk out the door to go to the bank and get some errands run and stuff after work the other day, and we had an argument between a couple of kids, and I had to handle it right now. And so you don't always have the chance to do things in the order that you want to. And sometimes people come in and do fake sign language at you because he's ready for you to finish your podcast.
No, I just want to know what's up there.
Well, we
Um,
are 27 minutes in, so.
no, you need to add the other part of the water and then it's ready. See, I have to explain how far I'd gotten with the coffee pot. You know why? Because I only half finished the coffee. And he's like, is it ready to start or do I need to add more water?
Okay, well, that's another thing that you kind of have always done. I guess I kind of do that too. Lots of half-finished projects.
Oh my God, we need to see a doctor. We
Well,
might
lucky
need to
for
go
us.
together because we both know these things about the other one and yet don't know we're doing them.
Okay, well, get this. Austin finishes med school in May, and she's going for psychology next. That's what she's doing for her residency. So we've got
Oh.
a family psychologist.
It sounds like there's a mother-daughter trip to Galveston in order.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I'm hoping she gets put here for her residency, at least close to me.
Man, that would be nice because we do have a big need for that here, but I bet she would be in one of the bigger cities. She'd probably, oh yeah, duh, closer to you. You're not in Victoria.
No, and she does not want to go to Victoria, but which is awful because yeah, there's a need for it for sure.
Okay, we need to get for the third time. Here's what ChatGPT said could help. Oh, mercy. One of them is repeat key points out loud after a conversation to reinforce memory. You've heard this like like in memorizing names or something like that. And I did this the other day. I went next door. I've got a new neighbor moving in next door to Futures Academy, 228 Leary Lane in Victoria. We're not just a school. We're a different kind of school. You should come check us out. But I went and talked to my next door neighbors who were moving in, getting things ready for their building. Met the two guys and the real estate agent who were there. And now, 4 days later, I remember one of them was Robert, and I don't remember the other one's name because he only introduced himself once. But as I was leaving, I went back. I said, "Okay, let's check. Do you remember my name? I know you are." It just pointed at him, and he said, "Robert." And now I remember. So repeating things back, and I would add, even you, as an educator, I would tell you that use that information immediately. Whether it's immediately say the person's name back to them and relate it to something, and that's just an easy trick. But also like directions to use that information to, if somebody tells you how to get somewhere, map it out with your hands or imagine turning left, like whatever it is, immediately use that information, not just say it out loud. And if that's not enough, use more tangible things. Use your voice notes on your phone, use your written notes on your phone, write on your hands. I've got a teacher who puts no, she doesn't put a string. She'll cross her fingers. When she has something to come tell me, she'll cross her fingers and keep them crossed until she gets to me, because the memory is in those crossed fingers. So if you have to
Yeah.
do something tangible, do it.
Well, and that makes me think that I'm thinking about how that must not be a hard one for me because, I waited tables for years and it's the last place I worked before River was born. I never wore an apron or like kept a notepad or anything because I literally would just take orders, go back to the computer, take orders, go back to the computer. And I had a
Right.
table of like 12 one day that was like a business lunch. And I did that. I took all their orders around the table and then sent it all back to them. And the guy at the head of the table was like, I need an assistant. Are you looking for a
Oh
job?
yeah,
Because
what
that
did
was so
did you ever call that
impressive.
guy?
No, but I still have that business card because if I ever move to Victoria, that is where I'm going to go.
Definitely.
But
Yeah, I
he
would.
was like, that was impressive. And it was really just years of doing that. But I don't
I remember
struggle with
you.
recalling details.
I have always been impressed with your ability to do that too, at least as an adult. I really don't remember when you were younger, but since you've been working and in close proximity with me, like even when you worked at the family business that had several businesses where that you helped open one, that
Hmm.
you could rattle the things off. And even when you and I are planning Brace for Impact, I'll tell you, we need to do this, 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 and this, or you need to do this today or whatever. And you're like, okay. And I'm all, are you writing this down? And you tell me you remember, and I'm like, I'm gonna write this down because neither one of us gonna remember in 20 minutes. But you generally do, especially if you do go ahead and handle it right then.
For the most part, I do.
Yeah.
I hold details very well.
Hmm. Meanwhile, I can't even read off my Chat GPT screen to finish conversation.
That's
Um,
another thing though, because like, how are you with directions?
I'm good with direction. Well,
Well,
I'm
are
pretty
you
good with
like, do you need
directions.
to know the streets or landmarks?
I'd rather you just tell me the streets.
Me too, because I can't get lost that way. I might
Exactly.
mistake the big tree for a different big tree.
Yeah, if I'm looking for Broad Street, that's pretty well marked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Cade has said that I was telling him, he was like, which way do I turn to get to this place? I'm like, this way, this way. And I've learned my area very well. And it's
Yeah.
because I know where all the streets are. And sometimes I'll look at a GPS to know, okay, this is how I got home. I turned here and here and here, and that's what it looks like on the map. So I can tell you by a map or I can tell you by landmarks if I needed to.
Mm. Yeah, see, Dad knew all the landmarks. It was really, I came to appreciate and even miss this when he'd be talking to somebody from home or his parents or whatever, and oh yeah, they bought a house out at old so and so's place back behind the well there. Remember where they had the fire that one year? What? I still don't have any more clue where you're talking about than I did before you started. But I guarantee you, whoever he's talking to knows exactly because that's where the four wheeler broke down when they were 9 and had to call their dad. Like so much
Like me and
context.
Devin.
Yes, very much. And that's home folks. When you
Yeah.
live where you grew up, that's just something that happens. But you know what? That's a really good closure to this because those memory techniques, including things like bookmarking moments, like you remember the context of the moment, is to bookmark it and look back and go, okay, what just happened? Let's reprocess this. and solidify the memory a little bit. But again, that's just kind of using it. And so when you put all that together and say, oh, yeah, I do remember that fire there, or yeah, I was with you when the four-wheeler broke down, or whatever it is, that's using that memory to put it together. I think the bottom line for me here, and probably for so many others in today's society, is mindfulness and grounding. You've got to create a space in your mind where there is peace so that you can check back into that whenever you need to, and where there's not chaos and all things are not happening all at once, that you can retreat back into. And eventually that just sort of becomes part of your everyday life, where you learn to live in that more peaceful state. I've been there, I just don't know how to get back.
There is on Netflix, there's like a mindfulness little thing that you can do. There's like daily ones, there's meditation ones. And whenever I was going to school to do my medical billing and coding, we had like a wellness part course that was
Mm-hmm.
like 3 weeks or whatever. And it talked about how like mindfulness is not just like sitting in the quiet and like it's a whole thing in its own to be practiced, and it matters.
Right.
But
And it's, don't think you have to take a huge chunk of your day. You can be mindful while you're washing the dishes. You can be mindful on
mhm.
your drive to work.
So let me ask you a question. Now, what year do you think that Eureka Springs trip was?
Um, I kind of know some time frames surrounding that. I think I was probably in college. So I was maybe 30, which would have meant y'all were, Dakota was maybe 4. So I'm guessing 2004, 2005. Oh,
So
well, I
I
don't think I was
was.
working yet.
Hmm. Okay, well, speaking of you being 30, I actually remember your 30th birthday, and we went to Olive Garden with Uncle Jason and Tyler.
I have no recollection. 30
Okay,
was the
well,
last year. I went back to college.
let's do some a little bit of announcements. In 2 weeks, on March 1st, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the University of Houston North Building, we will be having Brace for Impact. We'll have speakers and resource booths and vendors of all kinds from around town that cater to families and kids in the crossroads. You can also check out Futures Academy at futuresacademyvic.com. If you notice on Facebook and Instagram, we do have a new name. It's not like that anywhere else yet, but it will be hopefully next week. Our new show is Now She Tells Me.
Now she tells me. Uh, someday we might tell you the whole story of can I have $20, because you told me the truth behind that much, much later. But that'll be a story for another day.
Yes. All right. Am I leaving anything out?
I don't
Don't
think
forget
so.
to.
I know that the deadline is passed for vendors to sign up, but we're still looking for regular businesses who might want to sign up. If you or somebody is a business that frequents, that has families and kids and does business with those folks, then please get in touch with us. We'll take you at the last minute. You can probably show up that day and we'll find a spot for you.
Yep. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, small business owners, thanks for listening to our podcast. Can we have $20? That will get you a 30-second commercial on our podcast, along with a mention in our post and a link in our show notes. If you're interested, give Cheyenne a call at 361-550-2325. Thanks for listening.